stronger if you eat it in an edible. Your liver changes it again 5 to 10 times stronger. So that's why edibles are trickier for dosing. CBD is the other main cannabinoid in the plant, and that helps buffer out the psychoactive effects of THC. The other main class of chemicals are called terpenes or terpenoids, and there's another 200 or so of them. And these, if you know anything about aromatherapy or essential oils, you already know something about these. These are found in every fruit, flower, bird, tree. It gives them their distinct flavors, aromas, and also effects. These have therapeutic value, and they also are responsible for some of the side effects that we see from cannabis. I love that quote, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." It is so true with this plant. And can you say cannabinoid? Not cannabinoid, please say cannabinoid. It's so, yeah. It's important to say the name of the medicine correctly. So there are many, many therapeutic uses for THC. We see it useful in seizure modulation, pain relief. It also regulates your immune system. It can be what leads to deep sleep, which we think is the most therapeutic stage of sleep. And it also can help control cancer cells many ways, but it can lead to cancer cell death without harming healthy tissues around it. You can get too much THC, but you can also use terpenes to come to your rescue. If you overdo THC, you might want to try eating some black peppercorns or eating some citrus. I've seen it help modulate out that. And CBD, like I said, can also help modulate that. CBD is hugely useful. I don't ever want to downplay the role it has, but like Dr. Bako said, we do need at least some THC to get the best effects. So I don't know if you know this, but CBD has been patented by the United States government as a neuroprotective agent and also as an antioxidant. I have some more information for you about that too. But useful in limiting damage from ischemic stroke, a head injury, and also useful in the treatment of, this is in the patent, for treating Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and HIV dementias. I have copies of this chart also. This is showing some of the many uses for CBD, and we also know the pathways that they use in the body. That's what those little lines are showing, which pathways in the body are being used to create those effects. So understanding how it works, you need to understand the entourage effect or the synergy of these medications. So these are some of the main terpenes that are found, remember the essential oils of the plant. There's one called beta-caryophyllene, which has been the subject of a lot of study recently. It is found in black pepper, also hops, and rosemary. Hugely useful as an anti-inflammatory agent and for pain management, also for anticonvulsant. Linalool, if you've ever made a dream pillow to help you sleep with some lavender in it, that's what you're using in the cannabis plant. Also one called pinene, which is responsible for some of the therapeutic effects. If you ever use pine sol as a cleaner, or you walk through a pine forest, you might have noticed that you can breathe easier. It's a bronchodilator. It helps open up your bronchioles. But just as it can also, it's alerting, wakes you up a bit, it can also be responsible for side effects if you pair it with something that's high in THC. Because just on its own, there are many strains of cannabis that can be useful in slowing you down and relieving anxiety, but if you pair it up with something that's high in THC, it can lead to a worsening of your anxiety. This one is hugely popular. This is myrcene, and it is found in mangoes, certain mangoes, not all of them. But it can enhance the ability of THC to cross your blood-brain barrier. And so there's a theory that if you eat a myrcene-rich mango before you use THC, that it enhances your treatment. But it is also can be responsible for the side effect called couch lock, where you get down in the couch and you can't get back out again. So you have to know what's in your medicine, and that's one of the reasons I fought so hard to get dispensaries here with medicines that are tested and labeled so we can know what's in it. So just like your body produces opioids, your body produces cannabinoids. And because your body produces them, we call them endocannabinoids. We used to think that the opiates were what were responsible for the runner's high, and now we think it's the endocannabinoids. So the main one is called anandamide, which is Sanskrit for bliss. And it's very much like THC. This is your body's THC factory. And it is responsible for pain relief and euphoria. Main two, we're just going to call them AEA or anandamide, and 2AG, because I can only say 2-arachidonoglycerol so many times before I might have to give up. But these act as neurotransmitters, and they are lacking in diseased states. And they are also synthesized from omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. So what you eat does matter. There's a theory that you can enhance your body's endocannabinoid system by not just what you eat, but activities. And Dr. Bakos talked a little bit about some of those. These are both of these chemicals are found in early embryonic human development. And we think that they are hugely responsible for the maturation of the nervous system and also in your immune system. So I won't go through all this, but they are present in mother's breast milk. We think that it is responsible for stimulating the newborn's appetite and its sucking and rooting reflexes. So please don't get annoyed. It's called a endocannabinoid. That's the only way I could remember it, so I thought I would share that. So how it works too. So your body's creating these chemicals. They act as neurotransmitters, so you need receptors for those, right? The two main types, thankfully, are only called CB1 and CB2. That makes it easy for me. But CB1s are found primarily in your nervous system. CB2s in your immune system. They are found in nearly every tissue in your body. And this leads to homeostasis. So this is the master controlling system of your body. And Dr. Bako described this neuron-to-neuron firing in a unique fashion. It's a backwards fashion. The first neuron fires, and instead of just passing it along to the next neuron, that second neuron turns around and says, oh, what chemicals do I need to create? What endocannabinoids do I need to create the effect? And the best way I know how to describe that is with a seizure disorder. You have a random firing of that presynaptic neuron and the postsynaptic neuron turning around and saying, I don't think so, and we're just going to buffer that out. But the system does malfunction when we're chronically stressed or chronically ill. The location of the receptors matters very much. It explains why we have no overdose deaths from respiratory depression. Like Dr. Bako mentioned, there are few and far between in the brainstem, which controls your breathing center. And so we know that it's really safe for adults, but we're not so sure about children. Children have been hospitalized with oversedation from edibles and respiratory distress. So safety, here's our first prize, chance to get a prize. Although scientists have not been able to find a lethal dose, they did conduct a study. They strapped gas masks on monkeys and they piped in enough smoke to kill them. I'm calling this the smoke in a monkey study. And can you guess how many pounds you have to smoke and how many minutes to kill a monkey? Like in a prize. How many pounds? More than 5. Wait, or more than 100. Less than 2,000.
No, 300.
More.
500.
More than 500. More than 7. 800. 1,000 is getting there. But more than 1,000.
1,500.
More than 1,200. 1,500.
1,500.
1,500 pounds. How many minutes? You get a prize.
5 minutes.
In more than 5.
20 hours.
Less than 20.
18
15 minutes. 1,500 pounds in 15 minutes. That's a telephone pole-sized joint.
How can you burn it that fast?
Good luck.
How do you burn it that fast?
Burning Man. Next year.
But cannabis was a medicine in the United States from 1850 to 1937 when it and its cousin hemp became illegal at the very same time. It was included in the United States Pharmacopoeia, which is the pharmacist's Bible, and it was used for treating neuralgia, that's nerve pain, seizure disorders, opiate and alcohol use. These are things we are now just rediscovering the usefulness of. So what about safety? Well, the government commissioned a bunch of studies on that and came back 1939 saying, oh look, this is the first study done on smoke, and they came back saying, oh no, it doesn't cause insanity, it's not causing mental, physical health deterioration, it's not causing criminal behavior, juvenile delinquency or physically addictive, and it is not a gateway drug, 1939. So and that study was discounted by the drug czar of the time. And so again, 1972, another commission study came back saying, oh yeah, they found pretty much the same thing. But it took us until the year 2017 for us to get the gateway drug theory statement off of the DEA and National Institutes on Drug Abuse website. We had to file lawsuits against them for disseminating false scientific information. So there was a DEA judge, Francis Young, who was commissioned to look at the safety of cannabis. In 1988, he came back saying, well, when you determine the safety of anything, you have to look at risk versus benefit. But you also have to look at risk in terms of, are you going to let the disease continue to progress, or are you going to do something about it? And I'll let you read this. His conclusion. So, we are proponents of whole plant medicine. Whole plant medicine can be used with other medications. It can be used instead of other medications. And the safety of it depends upon many, many things, including your experience level, setting your goal. Are you going to go drive? Or if you're cooking with it, are you going to lick the spoon? Or after you medicate with it, are you going to hide your edible from yourself? Because when you get the munchies later, what are you going to go back to? Are you going to surround yourself with healthy foods when you get the munchies? Or are you going to go back and find that tasty edible that you medicated with and possibly overdo it? So when you buy medicines from the dispensary, they are tested and labeled so that you know the percentages of the cannabinoids and some of the terpenes on it. That's hugely useful for for dosing, and also for knowing that it does not have contaminants in it. Like any medicine, it can have side effects. Some of those can be serious. However, know this, most of those are predictable. Most of those are manageable and temporary as your body gets used to it. One of the main problems is periodontal disease from smoking. So if you're going to smoke, especially if you're using it to try to get to sleep at night, make sure you get brush your teeth before you fall asleep. Just things like that, so harm reduction all the way. There are many, and also it can cause drug-drug interactions. Both CBD and THC can interfere with prescription drugs and other medications in the liver. So we're finding that as little as 75 to 125 milligrams of CBD can be making changes in breast cancer patients who are on chemotherapy drugs. Again, safety, so drug-drug interactions. Be wary of any drugs that have the warning about eating grapefruit. And one of my favorite researchers reminds us that these adverse effects are well within the range that is tolerated for most FDA-approved medications. Okay, I'll be done very soon. The World Health Organization made a statement about the safety of CBD recently, saying it is safe and well tolerated in humans and animals. It is not intoxicating. In 2017, the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine released a review of over 10,000 cannabis studies, and they said that there is substantial conclusive evidence of the effectiveness in treating chronic pain, the spasticity of multiple sclerosis, and also control of nausea. But it said that we don't have enough evidence at the bottom about epilepsy. We had the Epidiolex studies recently showing that it is indeed effective for treating epilepsy. just trivia on pain management.